Imagine the outrage, the gnashing of teeth, the foaming at the mouth. If this had been a Labor government and suddenly the Chinese had gone and plonked a naval base in our backyard on the Solomon Islands. It'd be like a scene out of The Exorcist, with the Sky News pundits and the people at the Australian levitating from their beds, spitting bile. Of course, we shouldn't overplay the threat of military action from China, but it certainly is an absolute mess. We've cut foreign aid to the Solomons. What aid we gave in the 2022 budget, a lot of it, most of it was earmarked for an upgrade to the High Commission at Honiara, which is the capital. We've neglected our Pacific neighbours. We've neglected action on climate while they are concerned about rising sea levels.
The time doesn't mean anything when you're about to be, have water lapping at your face.
Why did nobody see this coming? Well, the writing was on the wall. There were riots in the Solomon Islands when they switched from backing Taiwan to backing Beijing. Aid was falling. The warning signs were there. The deal was not done. But Marise Payne, the Foreign Affairs Minister, is out doing Liberal Party fundraisers, did not get on a plane to get over there. And meanwhile, at the leaders' debate, the Sky News, if you can call it news, leaders' debate this week, it was such an irony to see that there was all this time and energy, this argy-bargy over who was tougher on asylum seekers. I kept the boats out. No, I kept the boats out. I kept more boats out than you did. We kept more boats out than you guys did. This is entirely missing the point. A few ragtag, poor, persecuted, desperate asylum seekers on boats, rickety boats, traversing the ocean to find a better life in Australia with their children, risking their lives to get here, treated like absolute dirt. Some of them have been in detention now for 9 years. There are children that have been there for most of their lives, locked up. So there's a human toll here, but in the scheme of things, it's actually quite small, this business of xenophobia, of dog whistling about the threat of boat people, of asylum seekers. Well, the Chinese Navy has now established a base on our doorstep. So here are the numbers. Through the Labor years, aid sent to Honiara averaged $234 million per year. This supported a range of various humanitarian and governance programs. Joe Hockey cut it in half in his first budget, down to $189.5 million. 2 years later, Scott Morrison, first budget, back to $155 million. Then he slashed it again in 2017, back to $142 million. This is despite humanitarian needs rising, not decreasing. And most recently, Treasurer Josh Frydenberg cut it back again to $103 million. And we're wondering why they're embracing China. We accept their workers. There are workers' visas, so we can get poor Solomon Islands here to work picking fruit in regional Australia. There's no visa program. They've got to go through another country, through Fiji, through Suva, to get a visa to Australia. So we're happy to exploit them. We're happy to slash their aid spending. We're happy to do nothing on climate change. And now we're wondering why they've fled into the arms of the Chinese in a strategic sense. Because they're going to get some aid and they've been ignored by Australia. But of course, that hasn't stopped the pundits from trying to work out a way to blame Labor. So here it is. They're blaming Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles for being too soft on China. And ASPI, which is the government lobby group, which the government funds millions of dollars a year to lobby the government on foreign affairs, completely missed it. Everything's been Ukraine and the threat of China, but nothing with the Solomon Islands. Then suddenly Peter Jennings comes out after the fact, when it's all too late, the horse has bolted. Nothing could amuse Xi Jinping more than to see Labor blame Prime Minister Scott Morrison for failing to stop China from undermining the sovereignty of the Solomons by co-opting its Prime Minister. Somehow Peter, the government lobbyist, paid also by international arms dealers, has found a way to blame Labor for something that has happened on the coalition watch. And so now the latest is Albo's got COVID, and some people have said this is a terrible thing. We think it's probably a very good thing. Albo can have a rest. Scott Morrison can attack him on his sick bed if he likes, but that's going to score him no points. Albo might want to get a ventilator's mask to get a few brownie points, a bit of sympathy from the public. But the fact is, he can now send out his troops against Morrison's troops, and they can do some campaigning. And if we look at the lineup here, if we look at the teams on either side, let's just have a quick look. Who would you rather? Richard Marles, Deputy Prime Minister, or you know who, Barnaby Joyce? Foreign Affairs, Penny Wong or Marise Payne? Education, Alan Tudge or Tanya Plibersek? NDIS, Lynda Reynolds or Bill Shorten? Home Affairs, Karen Andrews or Christina Keneally? Aged Care, the great, the sagacious action man of aged care, Richard Colbeck or Mark Butler? Who would you rather in the arts, Paul Fletcher or Tony Burke? Or what about good old climate and energy with good old Angus Taylor and Susan Lee, or would you rather Chris Bowen? I think Albo is in pretty good hands there. He can go and be sick for a few days and it will probably do his campaign some good because let's face it, it's far too long. This 6 weeks of campaign is unbearable. Like this video if you'd like to see some policies get covered in this election rather than the horse race journalism. As we sail towards the election, we'll keep you up to speed on all the developments in federal politics. We'll try to get you the real story, not the exclusive